Yesterday we learned a decent bit about what's upcoming for Season 2 across Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, Warzone 2, and DMZ, where the focus was more high-level details, focused on fundamental adjustments, not so much the content, though some, like the confirmation of 5 weapons in Season 2 rather than the 4 that we got in Season 1, was actually confirmed. So things on a more structural level of the game were really laid out yesterday, baseline pieces, but one thing that was left a bit open-ended as of yesterday's update was some details that weren't too specific, rather vague, and honestly proposed more questions than answers that today we have some clarity on for DMZ. Today we're breaking down those changes coming to DMZ that I'm not sure that anyone really asked for, but seems like they're coming no less. So as we go along, drop your thoughts below. Do you agree with these changes, find them necessary, or not so much? Whatever the case, let me know below. But for now, let's jump into it. So DMZ is this open world-ish experience, right? You can do what you want when you want, complete objectives at your own pace. It's one of the nice draws about the extraction mode within Call of Duty. From the 3 factions with the 5 tiers each to things like weapon cases to extract and hold on to, you can do plenty in DMZ's world or nothing. It just depends on what you want out of the experience. For me, as a completionist, after doing all of my weapon leveling, all of my operator leveling, all of my camo challenges, all of what I thought Battle Royale had to offer minus completing the nuke, DMZ was that next grind, which I'm currently still on, completing and 100%ing everything that the game mode has to offer, but boy, there's still plenty left to do. So that's the beauty of it, or perhaps irritating part of DMZ, depending on who you ask. The first few tiers are easy to complete and acclimate yourself with the game, but then you have challenges in tier 3, 4, and 5 of each faction that can just be absolute grinds for the completion of even just one singular challenge. 2 of my squad, Pat and Lazy, are a bit further in some of their challenges for the Black Mouse than me, and they've been working for days to weeks now to have completed just the challenge that requires you to, I think, dead drop gold skulls and gold bars, items that are the highest level of rarity in DMZ, things that you can go sometimes days without seeing one, and they're only available in those high yield locations like legendary chests and supply drops. So there's plenty of stuff to do on the simpler aspect of stuff, but also stuff that will absolutely keep you engaged for days at a time. Now, while there are a few cool things announced for DMZ in the second season, like a new map and deployment zone, AI tuning changes, spawn adjustments, and what seems to be the prevention of maybe losses of your items for game crashes, there's one point of discussion that left more questions than answers that we finally have some further confirmation on today. In DMZ's description for Season 2, there are 2 sections in particular that stood out. Firstly, the mission difficulty tuning, where they stated data and feedback reinforced that the faction mission difficulty ramp up was too aggressive for many players, and the demanding scale ultimately made it very challenging to unlock the second insured slot for completing all tier 3 missions across all 3 factions. We've adjusted the overall scaling of difficulty and missions as tiers progress. Later tier missions will still be quite challenging even for the experienced operator, but we believe more straightforward access to an additional insured slot will provide a better path forward for all players. And how they potentially do that is with the next portion, a seasonal refresh, where they detailed all new missions are coming to Season 2, including a refresh of your current faction mission progress and an inventory, which is your contraband and keys, reset. We'll be detailing all the need-to-know intel for DMZ ahead of Season 2 in an upcoming blog. So absolutely nice for the more casual audience that some missions will be getting toned down. Personally, even grinding out DMZ as I am, I don't even have a second insured slot just yet, mainly because the way I'm tackling these challenges, I'm attempting to complete 100% Legion, then White Lotus, then Black Mouse, instead of just completing my tier 3 missions across the board first. But it'll be nice for the more insured slots to be available sooner rather than later for all players, but in order to do that, you can't change the criteria or difficulty without invalidating players who have already completed said challenges. And that's where this strange dilemma now is presented. What's odd about the wording in that blog post is that it's not too explicit on the wording of the missions section itself. A refresh of your current faction mission progress seems less definitive and less sort of endgamey than an inventory, contraband, and keys reset, as reset makes a wipe clear. A refresh kind of seems like it could potentially be harmless, something as low as changing the criteria or numbers required for specific challenges. But there's enough vague wording that the question was definitely relevant. Would a full wipe be coming for DMZ? And that's where we got more information today, where Doug from Modern Warzone tweeted, players aren't reacting well to the news that all their DMZ progress will be wiped when Season 2 starts. It was never communicated that wipes were even a possibility. Now players feel blindsided and like they've wasted their time and efforts for essentially nothing. Following up by saying everyone will have their factions reset to tier 1, the wording of the blog post is confusing some people, and a tweet later saying they've received confirmation that insured weapon slots in DMZ will be wiped/reset when Season 2 goes live. Faction tiers will also be reset to tier 1 for everyone, with new missions being added, and it said the path from tier 1 to 3 will be quicker for that second insured slot. So that's where the dilemma truly now lies. On one hand, it's understandable that if you're rebuilding a system, I get you need to sort of adjust everything fundamentally, but it doesn't make it any less unfortunate that you'll have people that either grinded out all of these insanely tough challenges, especially in tier 4 and 5 of each of the factions, or for those that maybe have never gotten close to completing it. There are rewards for those tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for each of the factions that progressively offer up more in terms of either blueprints or in terms of operator uniform. So that statement of essentially grinding for nothing now becomes a reality. So if this report holds true, the inevitability of a wipe seems to be there. And that is something that is incredibly unfortunate. Nobody really asked for this, and it's something that would have been nice to see communicated at least, say, somewhat beforehand. Yes, we have 3 weeks now to complete this, but 3 weeks to complete all of the challenges here for DMZ. If you are somebody that wants those rewards for completing each individual tier and what it grants you, that's not a lot of time. Now, the only sort of hopeful thing that I have here in relation to this is that this hopefully is just a one-off thing. If you're rebuilding a system, I get the need for it, but it begs the question about what does the future look like? Right now, this seems to be like a required change, but does the future now see us getting mission refreshes every single season? Because to me, that seems a bit excessive, a bit overkill. That seems like a way to deter players from playing as their invested time seems less impactful or valued. And it's the same dilemma that we now see with the seasonal ranking system that we've had since 2019. We finally had something that would then sort of transcend these individual seasons and be valued and workable towards season over season instead of resetting, in concept at least, but now that potentially could change as well. So I'm really hoping that this isn't a seasonal thing. I'm hoping this is really just an unfortunate collateral damage scenario where it's just a necessity to be fair to all players for structural rebalancing, because if you change just say the numbers of items or change the requirements of existing mission challenges, it wouldn't be fair per se to those that already completed the challenges. And the more enticing you make it for players who hadn't completed it, the more that imbalance becomes apparent for those that did. So while we don't have any more clarification, context, or information here on what this will entail for the further future, with refreshes to all your tiers and all your missions, as well as your ensured progress, as well as inventory, this very much so could change the trajectory of how DMZ is handled and received in future seasons. So for that, if you guys are looking to complete all of your missions so you can end up getting those exclusive rewards that come along with them, make sure you grind it out. We don't have a whole ton of time left, but there is enough to at least get some of those perhaps done, if not all, if you do really grind out. But also oppositely, if it's now something that you don't care too much about it, you got a couple of weeks to just chill out and do nothing. So that said, that's what I call it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Wanted to fill you guys in because this was something that really caught me off guard and is something that honestly I'm pretty bummed about. So I guess we'll see what the future holds. But for now, let me know your thoughts down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, DMZ, and Season 2 content. We got you covered here on the channel. So if you're interested, I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.